I was 2.5 years into the relationship with my GF, and started having serious issues towards the end. She would initiate breaks, we would break up, get back, and just have fights. During this entire time, I was confiding in my best friend, daily phone calls and hangouts. He was with me every step of the way, convinced me to break up with my GF, and once I did, he could not be reached as soon as things really went south. I come to find out, it all began because my GF had been cheating with him the entire time. Now that they have moved in together, I just feel like such an idiot. I completely trusted him, blind faith. I never thought he would ever do this to me. My GF of 2.5 years, I guess that crushed me too, but I have been friends with this guy since childhood, and to find out he would play me like this has turned my world upside down. How can I be such a terrible judge of character? Strap in for a long post if you're ready. Any info that may elicit questions on how I knew, it was because either friends or family filled me in after D-Day. My best friend is someone who I have known since high school. We were in the same homeroom and were inseparable after that, basically brothers from another mother. You know the whole spiel. We kept zero secrets and are an open book to each other, our dating lives, relationships, dirty laundry, etc., you name it. He knew everything about me, and I knew everything about him. Even though he may be my best friend, I would never introduce any women I know to date him because his dating life has been a complete disaster. He has had 4 exes, 2 of which cheated on him. 1 was sleeping with multiple men. The second one was 2-timing with another man for a year. He cheated on his 3rd GF and dumped her to be with his 4th GF. He also hits up prostitutes on a regular basis. His mother is also wealthy, and so he has never had to work his entire life. His mom just sends him money. Meanwhile, I was a virgin and never had any contact with any women until this relationship. The events. I met my so through a dating app back on January 13, 2019. From the first date to the end of 2020, things were generally going well. We traveled a lot and also hung out plenty of time with my best friend and his so whom they had been together for around 4 years at the time. When the pandemic hit, my best friend so broke up with him and moved back to China. So during this time it pretty much became just us 3 hanging out all the time. We would play video games, watch movies and just hang out together at our homes. When the restaurants started opening up, we would go out to eat, and sometimes he would also happen to take my GF out to go grab some dinner, which at first I didn't think anything of because she lived close by to the places that he would go eat at. I thought nothing of it and the outings for them became more and more frequent. I felt off as she came home later and later, but I didn't question it because he was my best friend of 20 years and she would always send me pictures of the food and tell me that she was grabbing dinner with him. January 2021, I started helping out my GF's family to renovate a new house they just got. During this time I had already returned to work for 2 days a week, the remainder of the 5 days I would go help renovate the house. By the end of March, I had broken my wrist tossing out wooden planks. I underwent wrist surgery, and then her birthday came up on April 29th. April 29th, I had planned a trip for her that involved the 29th and 30th. On the 30th, as we were coming back home, my best friend wanted to give her a birthday cake as well and waited for us to come back. He had also gifted her a custom engraved iPad for her birthday in which she was ecstatic over. May, week 1, a week later, she calls me up to break up with me, reasons being she didn't see a future with me because I didn't make enough money. She said that I was lazy and had to find a second job and I don't have the luxury of playing games all day compared to my best friend who doesn't have to work because he's rich. I was also not the first one to wish her a happy birthday at 12 a.m. I was 2 minutes late. I asked her who it was that had wished her a happy b-day earlier than me, and she replied with "You don't need to know." I have come to learn that it was my best friend. May, between week 2 and 3, a couple of weeks after the breakup, I called up my best friend of 20 years to confide in him that I had broken up with her. Before this, I have never shared any of my issues with my girlfriend with him. He had no idea that I was suffering and going through this pain. Apparently he had already invited her out for dinner a few days earlier and told me he had no idea we broke up and that she didn't mention anything about me when they were together. He told me to never hesitate to reach out, and that he was already there for me, in which I took up and either hung out or called him up to talk every day for at least 2 hours per phone call. May, week 3, she calls me up to get back together with me. I agreed to get back together. Everything seems to be going well for the next few weeks. We had talks of saving money to get a place to move in together next year. We had also planned a 3-day vacation trip together with a bunch of friends that included my best friend. I told my best friend about it, and he gave me advice saying you need to reconsider moving in together with her because she broke up with you when you broke your wrist and that's a huge red flag. She put you through hell all this time, she's never going to change, and can you truly envision the rest of your life with her? His advice was sound, reasonable, and I accepted it without hesitation. May, week 4 to June, week 3. During this time, I started going to therapy for my broken wrist post-surgery, and there were a couple of cute women there that I had casually told my best friend about. After the way my so had initially broken up with me, amongst the previous issues throughout the years, I started wavering a bit. So I told my best friend about having doubts on maintaining this relationship, and if I should break up with her. Maybe I could even ask out one of these ladies. He told me that it was a terrible decision, and to just keep my so in the dark, just ask out the women from therapy, and that if things work out with them, then my so can be a backup until I can transition and promote them into the main girlfriend position. I was extremely distraught at this thought, cried for a couple days, and in the end I didn't go through with it, seeing as how it would devastate my GF and waste her time. I would hate myself for life. June, week 3, I chose to work on this relationship, and work on myself instead, so I delved into online articles on relationship advice. I had many tabs open with different articles, some that are titled "When to Break Up, How Do You Know If She's Worth Sticking Around For?" and other generally sensitive topics. When my so came over, she saw the open tabs and started questioning me. So we got into a fight and she accused me of having someone else that I liked. She told me that someone else also asked her out at one point during our relationship, and she turned him down because she was in a committed relationship with me. She texted my best friend that she was no longer going to the group outing that we had originally planned. I told her that I was having doubts, but wanted to work things out with her and try my best, as we had built something for the last 3 years and I truly cared for her. I told her I was in it for the long haul. We made up and decided to go on that trip. June, week 4. My best friend had gotten a new apartment, and was busy buying furniture and setting up equipment. He had asked me over to help set up. He had gotten a couple televisions, and a table and bed from IKEA that I helped him put together. This was supposed to be his new bachelor pad, as he has decided to delve back into the dating scene and get out of the single life. He had also really started to work out and do cardio to lose weight, and he did a pretty damn good job of it. After I finished helping him put together the bed, he thanked me, while I told him no problem. You've been there for me every step of the way through this darkest time of my life, and I will do the same for you. This is nothing. He also reassured me that he never told her anything during the times they hang out. June 30th, this would be the last time I would be able to reach him through phone calls or text. The last time he picked up my call was earlier that day. I tried calling him later that night and texting him, and from that point forth, he dropped off the face of the earth. He would come to reveal that he was having dinner with her that night, and didn't want to make things awkward for her by picking up my phone call. This would also be the first time that I know of that she had not told me that they were going out for dinner, aside from the time when we broke up with the 3 weeks break in between. July 9th, the next time I saw or made contact with him wouldn't be until the trip. He was the driver as he had the car. Before then, whenever the 3 of us hung out, I would always sit up front with him while my so sat in the back seat, but this time she said it was a long trip and she gets car sick, so she sat at the front the entire time. During the vacation, my best friend paid for everyone, all the tickets, our meals, and my girlfriend would be together with him the entire time, running off to play the arcades, gamble, and out of sight. Meanwhile, I was stuck in the back hanging out with my other friends. One of my friends revealed to me that they were gossiping amongst each other and taking pictures of them together, asking each other whose girlfriend that was. During the 3-day trip, I also didn't have any sex with my girlfriend. During the ride back, after everyone was dropped off home, I was the last one in the car with him. He also told me that he had gone to the same place last week with an ex-GF of his, and that is why he knew which places to eat at and which spots were fun. We just talked for a bit and I asked him why he stopped picking up, and he said he was busy setting up the internet and finishing up the final touches to his apartment. I would soon find out that the trip he booked for the same place was originally intended for my girlfriend, so that she would not miss out on the vacation, but I threw a wrench in his plans when I had made up with her. End of July, and July 25th, my birthday was here, and the week before that things were getting cold and distant with my girlfriend. She would take hours to respond to text, sometimes not even text back at all, which she has never done before. She came to stay over the night before my b-day so we can go celebrate together the following day. I waited until 12:05 a.m. before she mumbled nonchalantly to me happy b-day. I tried to have sex with her, which she was brushing me off, also never happened before, but we finally ended up having sex. This would be our last intimate moment together. The actual b-day was a disaster. She was out of it completely, took me to eat, got me a present, but left halfway through the day, saying she was busy and had work to complete. It would be the last time I ever saw her in person. Combined with a recent trip, I just began to feel terrible, and by the following week I was pretty much about to call it quits.